Mindful Leadership Transforming Lives with your host, Singh. This is where leadership meets purpose, presence, and passion. In today's fast paced, high pressure world, we face a leadership crisis. Too often, teams are led by managers who lack empathy, clarity, and vision, leaving individuals uninspired, disconnected, and undervalued. But it doesn't have to be this way. Great leadership isn't born, it's built. The end game: empower your leadership, inspire the world. Every week, join me, your host Singh, as we tackle the gaps in leadership and life coaching head on, learning how mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and compassion can redefine success. This isn't just another podcast, it's a mission to fill the void left by ineffective leadership. And it's not just about leadership in business. Life coaching for leaders and new executives is at heart of this journey. Ready to rise above the noise and lead with clarity, purpose, and impact? Join a global movement dedicated to reshaping the future of leadership one mindful moment at a time. Let's begin.
Welcome back to another episode of Mindful Leadership Podcast on the Transformation Network. The podcast where we turn stress into strategy, overthinking into clarity, and overwhelm into momentum. I'm your host, Singh, the leadership coach who knows that growth does not happen through burnout, it happens through alignment. So let's begin. Let's talk about something that no one wants to admit. Leadership is not one size fits all. I know it's not like those miracle yoga pants that claim to fit everyone but leave you wondering if you grew a second waistline. Leadership is more like trying on your friends' jeans, awkward, uncomfortable, and honestly a little embarrassing. But here's the thing: your leadership is not supposed to look like someone else's. It is not supposed to look like your bosses, your mentors, or that influencer who is always posting inspirational quotes at 6 a.m. on Instagram. Your leadership is supposed to look like yours. And here is why this matters. When you stop trying to fit into someone else's mold, you stop feeling like you're faking it and you start leading with clarity and confidence. Authenticity is not just a buzzword, it is your competitive edge. So, today we are diving into how to own your unique leadership style using Own It framework. And if you are already thinking, great, another acronym, don't worry, this one also works. By the end of this episode, you will know exactly how to uncover your wiring, align with your purpose, and lead in a way that feels effortless. And hey, if that sounds too good to be true, let me assure you, this is not some overnight success nonsense. It is about doing the real work to show up as a leader you're wired to be. So buckle up, grab a coffee, and if you're driving, keep your eyes on the road because we are about to unpack why your leadership is not meant to look like theirs. So let's get into copycat leadership. It is a trap we have all fallen into. And if you're sitting there shaking your head, thinking, not me, I am calling you out. We all have been there. You see, someone absolutely crushing it, maybe it's your boss who seems to run on espresso and ambition, a LinkedIn influencer who's always posting about their 5 a.m. miracle mornings, or that coworker who somehow leads a team, trains a triathlon, and bakes sourdough bread. And you think, if I just do what they are doing, I will get the same result. Well, spoiler alert, that is not how it works. And here is why: their individual leadership style is built on their wiring, their experiences, and their purpose. Trying to copy them is like downloading an app that wasn't made for your phone. Sure, it might load, but it is going to be glitchy and eventually it's going to crash. So, why copycat leadership fails? Let me give you an example. Ponder this. You are naturally a calm, reflective leader who thrives on creating strategies and bringing order to chaos. But then you see someone who has that high energy, big personality leader, the kind who walks into a room with instantly commands attention. And you think that's what leadership looks like. I need to be more like that. So you start trying to hype people up, cracking jokes you don't even think are funny, and throwing out motivational quotes like human Pinterest board. But deep down, it feels off, like you're performing instead of leading. And you know who else can tell? Your team. people around you. And here is what I want you to remember: leadership is not performance, it is personal. The most effective leaders are not the loudest or the flashiest. They are the ones who are aligned with their wiring and their purpose. So let me share a quick story about one of my clients. Let's call her Maria. Maria is a naturally reflective and strategic leader, but she thought she needed to be the big personality in the room because that's what she saw in her bosses. So she started trying to lead like her boss. Lots of pep talks, big energy, and constant visibility. The result, her team felt disconnected because it was not authentic to who she was. They could tell she was trying to be someone she was not. But when she learned and leaned into her natural strengths, creating structure, clarity, and space for collaboration, everything changed. Her team started thriving, productivity went up, engagement improved, and she stopped feeling like she was faking it. So, what is the lesson here? Stop trying to lead like Beyonce when you're wired like Taylor Swift. Both are incredible, but their styles could not be more different. You do not need the glittery mic if what you bring to the table is a guitar and a heartfelt lyrics. Let's detour for a second because can we all agree that trying to copy someone else's leadership style is like trying to recreate a recipe you saw on Instagram? You follow the steps exactly, same ingredients, same measurements, and somehow your fluffy pancakes end up looking like hockey pucks. Been there? So here's the thing: leadership is not about following someone else's recipe. It is about, it is not about imitation. It is about alignment. Your leadership style is your grandma's secret recipe. It works because it is yours. Imagine you are trying to lead like Elon Musk. You're thinking, I need to be bold, take huge risk, and tweet at 3 a.m. But if you're wired to lead with empathy and collaboration, trying to emulate that style is like trying to run a marathon in flip flops. Sure, you might make it a few miles, but eventually it's going to hurt. So let's flip the script. Instead of asking, how can I be more like whoever your famous personality is, ask yourself, what makes me uniquely effective as a leader? Think about that. Whatever it is, own it and use it. And here's the kicker: double down on it this week. That is your coaching hook today. If you are still not sure what your unique strength is, here is a simple hack. Think about what people come to you for. What is that one thing you do so effortlessly that others cannot stop complimenting you on? That is your superpower. And the challenge will be pick one strength, just one, and lean into it. If you are a connector, schedule one-on-ones with your team to rebuild relationship. If you are a strategist, take a messy situation and bring clarity to it. If you are a motivator, rally your team around a shared goal. Because at the end of the day, the world does not need another carbon copy leader. It needs you, the real, authentic, unapologetic version of you. So let's bring back to what we are seeing in the world right now. Look at leadership styles we have seen in sports recently. Steve Kerr, head coach of Golden State Warriors, is not the loudest guy in the room. He is a master at creating trust and empowering his team. Now, compare that to Deion Sanders, who is leading Colorado football with charisma so big, it practically has its own zip code, right? So both are widely successful, but they're showing up in the ways that align with who they are. That is the lesson. Your leadership does not need to look like anyone else. It just need to work for you. So here is a big takeaway. Leadership is not about imitation. It is about alignment. It is about showing up as a leader you're wired to be and letting go of the idea that you need to look or act like someone else to succeed. So take this first step. Stop copying, start owning, and lead the way only you can. The world does not need more noise, it needs your voice. So let's make it count. So it's time to put some skin in the game. So let's do a quick own it leadership audit. Don't worry, This isn't like one of those weird personality quizzes that tells you which Disney villain you are. It is designed to help you see where you are crushing it as a leader and where you might need to pivot a bit. So, as always, grab a notebook, open your note app, and hey, if you're driving, just shout your answers into the void like you are in an intense conversation with your GPS. Ready? Let's begin. Step one. What is one leadership trait that feels effortless for you? Like, what is the thing you do naturally that you almost don't even notice it? Maybe it is connecting with people, staying calm under pressure, solving problems faster than your toddler can break something you've just fixed. I had a client who's wired as a visionary. She thrives on big picture thinking and loves brainstorming future possibilities. But for years, she tried to force herself into being super detail oriented manager because that is what she was taught leaders were supposed to do. Well, it did not work. When she started owning her wiring, she stopped micromanaging and started empowering her team to handle the details. Game changer. So, what is your leadership superpower? Own it. Next, ask yourself, what motivates you to lead? What is the thing that gets you out of the bed on those mornings when you would rather stay cocooned in your blanket, binge watching Netflix? Maybe it is helping others grow. Maybe it is building something bigger than yourself. Or maybe it is having the kind of impact that makes people say, wow, I'm so glad they are leading this. If you are struggling with this one, think about the last time you felt really fulfilled as a leader. What were you doing? Who were you helping? That is usually where your purpose lives. And remember, leading without purpose is like trying to play darts in the dark. You might hit something, but it's probably not the bullseye. All right, here is where it gets real. The third step is what is one thing you tend to avoid as a leader? Now, see, we all have our blind spots. Maybe you dodge conflict like it's bad high school reunion, or maybe you clinch to control because trusting someone else to take the reins feels scarier than letting your dog near a plate of food you just set down. Here's the thing, avoiding your blind spots does not make them go away, it just makes them harder to fix. So take some time, take a moment to reflect. What is one thing you can or you could work on as a leader? And if you don't know, ask your team. They will tell you. Trust me, they know. And then step four, your strengths are your leadership fuel. So here's the question, how can you use your strengths to empower your team this week? For example, if you are a connector, spend time building relationship. If you're a strategist, help your team map out a clear path. And if you're a motivator, rally the troops and remind them why the work they are doing matters. I once worked with a leader who was amazing storyteller. Instead of sending boring emails updates, she would share quick, inspiring stories with her team during meetings. And it became her signature move, and her team loved it. They connected with her vision because she showed up authentically. And finally, what's one decision you can make today that feels authentic and aligned with you, with who you are? Maybe it is saying no to a project that does not fit your purpose. Maybe it is delegating something so you can focus on your strengths. Or maybe it is just taking 5 minutes to reflect on what kind of leader you want to be. Aligned action is not about doing more, it is about doing what matters. And when you make decisions that align with your wiring, your strengths, and your purpose, leadership stops feeling like a grind and starts feeling like a natural extension of who you are. All right. So that's your own leadership audit. If you're feeling brave, share your answers with me on LinkedIn or Instagram. I would love to hear what you're discovering about yourself as a leader. Remember, leadership is not about being perfect, it is about being authentic. So own your wiring, work with your purpose, navigate your blind spot, inspire through your strengths, and take aligned action. That is how you lead like you're meant to. Let me give you a real world example. Here, one of my clients, uh, Peter, one of those leaders who is naturally wired for collaboration and consensus building, not a person who can walk into a room full of differing opinions and somehow get everyone rowing in the same direction. But here's the thing, he did not see that as a strength. Somewhere along the way, he convinced himself that being a strong leader meant being more assertive. You know, the type of leader he was picturing, the my way or highway decision making bulldozer who barrels through meetings with a mic drop moment every 5 minutes. So he started trying to lead like that. And guess what happened? His team froze. They didn't feel heard. They stopped offering ideas and deadlines started slipping. Now, he came to me frustrated, saying, I don't get it. I'm doing what a leader is supposed to do, but it is not working. And that is when we had the real talk. And I told him, your strength is not in bulldozing decisions, it is in building consensus. When Peter stopped trying to force himself into a style that did not fit and leaned into his natural strengths, everything changed. He started listening more, asking questions, and creating space for his team to share their ideas. And guess what? His team became more engaged. Their collaboration improved, and they started hitting deadlines faster than ever. The takeaway, leadership is not about forcing yourself to be something that you are not, it is about amplifying what you already are. And here's the thing, when you fight your natural wiring, it is exhausting, it is burnout. It is like trying to write with your non dominant hand. Sure, you can do it, but everything feels clunky and slow. And at some point, you're going to want to throw the pen across the room. The same is true for leadership. If you're naturally wired to be a collaborator, forcing yourself to be a top down authoritarian is not going to work. It is just going to stress you out. And it is going to stress out your team. And this does not just apply to people like Peter. I see this all the time. Leaders who are naturally reflective try to be more extrovert. Leaders who are naturally analytical try to wing it in meetings instead of preparing. And the result is always the same: frustration, burnout, and a team that feels disconnected. So let's tie back to what is happening in the world right now. Look at NBA. You have got coaches like Steve Kerr, who's all about empowering his team through trust and collaboration. He does not micromanage or scream from the sidelines. He builds systems where his players can thrive. On the other spectrum, you have got someone like Deion Sanders leading Colorado football with unmatched energy and charisma. He's not trying to be a calm behind the scene coach. That is just he's just not that person. And because he leads authentically, his team feeds off that energy and performs always at a high level. Both are succeeding, but in a completely different ways. Why? Because they are leading in a way that aligns with who they are. So here's a question for you. What is your version of leadership? What is the thing you do so effortlessly that you almost don't even notice it? Maybe you are a natural motivator, the kind of leader who can rally a team even when morale is low. Or maybe you are a strategist, the one who can take big, messy problem and break it down into clear, actionable steps. Whatever it is, that is your leadership superpower. And here's the kicker, you don't need to fix it, you just need to lean into it. So this week, take 5 minutes and ask yourself, what is one way I can amplify my natural strengths as a leader? Maybe it is asking more questions in meetings, or maybe it is spending time clarifying your team's goals. Whatever it is, keep it simple but authentic. At the end of the day, leadership is not about wearing someone else's shoes. It is about confidently walking in your own. When you stop fighting your wiring and start leading with it, you don't just become a leader, you empower the people around you to do the same. So go out there, be authentic, and lead in a way that feels right for you, and let's make it happen. Now, before we wrap up, there is a moment in time when we all challenge ourselves to find the better us. That is where we have the purpose factor assessment. The assessment was created with purpose in mind. Purpose, again, the way it defines purpose is what is the best you have to give to others. And when you lead with purpose, when you lead with purpose, you get fulfillment in ways of grace, gratitude, and growth. Gratitude, people thanking you, grace, you see others grow, and your own personal financial growth because you're living in purpose. When you get in that zone, when you get in living with your purpose, you'll wake up with a whole different energy every day. And the way the assessment is orchestrated or created is it has got four different archetypes. It identifies your natural ability, it helps you identify your preferred skills, it helps you or pull passion, it helps you identify your acquired skills, and then it helps you identify your origin. So your origin strength is the way you have created yourself to react to bad situations. Acquired skills, it's very simple, things that you have learned through experience and education. Pull passion, things you gravitate to do. And then natural ability, something that you used to do even as a kid. Now, where this assessment is different from most of the other personality assessments is it does not give you a point in time what are those archetypes. It goes beyond those archetypes and identifies what are the things that you do day to day that frustrates you and fulfills you. What are your blind spots? How do you like to lead others? And how do you like to lead by others? More importantly, for each of the four archetypes, it ties it back to certain values and beliefs that you have. And you have frustration or unfulfillment or burnout when your values and beliefs are not getting fulfilled. I always give example of hangry, right? We all once in a while see somebody in our life who can get really hangry, right? They're hungry, and that hunger creates anger. Now, I have tried this in multiple situations where if somebody is hangry, if I can just feed that person, yes, it can take away the hunger, but does not guarantee fulfillment. It does not guarantee satisfaction. But if I have someone engaged in something they're passionate about and they're living by purpose, for days they might not feel the need of having food because their values and beliefs are right there in their purpose and they're living it. So let's land this plane finally, and not with one of those bumpy landings where everyone claps just because the wheels touch the down. I'm talking about a smooth, intentional finish that leaves you ready to take action. Here's the deal. If you are ready to step into your authentic leadership style, your wiring, your strengths, your purpose, then this is your moment. No more trying to lead your boss, your mentor, or that LinkedIn influencer who someone has time to post inspirational quotes and run 3 startups. It is time to own your leadership unapologetically. And as I always say, mindful leadership, the word mindful itself is to take 3 deep breaths, get in the present, right this moment, and become an observer. So by becoming that observer, run the own it reset. So here's a challenge for you for the week. Anytime you feel that pull to copy someone else's leadership style, Whether it is your boss, a mentor, or that coworker who's crushing it, hit pause and run the own it reset. Remember, stop and ask yourself, am I leading in a way that aligns with my wiring and strengths? Seriously, take a second to check in with yourself. Put your coffee down for 2 seconds, take a deep breath, and reconnect with what makes you an effective leader. And do just one thing, one small thing that is authentic to you. Maybe it is leading a meeting your way, not the way your predecessor did it. Or maybe it's giving feedback in a style that feels natural to you. Then I want to hear from you. Post your story on LinkedIn or Instagram with the hashtag #OwnItLeadership and tag me. Start a movement of leaders who are not afraid to lead in their own way. Because leadership is not about imitation, it's about alignment. Now, if you're ready to take this work deeper, and I know you are because you're still here are two ways to get started right now. DM me for the purpose factor assessment, and I'll get you a code to get the assessment without any charge and a review 1 hour with me. Think of this as your leadership DNA test. It is not just another personality quiz, as I explained before, that tells you what house you would be in. Although, let's be honest, you're probably Gryffindor if you're here. This is precision tool that reveals why you lead the way you do, what drives you, and just as importantly, what drains you. When you know your purpose factor, you stop guessing about your leadership style. You gain clarity on your strengths, awareness, your blind spots, and a filter for every decision you make. It is like putting on glasses for the first time. You will see everything more clearly, especially for yourself. So DM me and I'll get you the code to take the purpose assessment as well as a review session with me. Second, let me hook you up with Circle Up, my custom GPT powered coaching tool. It is based on my Compass Circle framework and the book, which helps you build the 7 relationship every leaders needs to thrive. This is not about mindless networking. It is about auditing and strengthening the roles in your life that give you clarity, opens door, mentors you, hold you accountable, and amplify your strengths. The best part, the GPT makes it interactive. You can run a mini assessment, get a tailored actions, and level up your circle role by role until you hit what I call the circle master status. And here's the magic. The purpose factor gives you why behind your leadership. Circle up helps you build the who around you so that you can drive. So here's the bottom line. Don't just listen, take action. DM me in purpose factor assessment, get your private link to Circle Up. And if this episode resonates with you, share it with someone who needs to hear this. Maybe it is a friend who's stuck in comparison trap or your coworker who is trying to lead like a mix of Beyonce and Elon Musk. Let's help them own it too. And hey, if you're not sure where to start small. Take one aligned action this week, something that feels true to you. Watch what happens when you lead from a place of authenticity instead of imitation. Because at the end of the day, the world does not need more copycat leaders. It needs you, the real, messy, authentic version of you. The leader who knows their wiring, owns their strength, and leads with purpose. You're listening to Mindful Leadership Transforming Lives on the Transformation Network. I'm your host, Singh. That's a wrap for the day. I'll see you back here next week for more insights, laugh, and actionable advice. Until then, keep leading with authenticity, alignment, and impact. Let's make it count.
Thank you for watching Mindful Leadership Transforming Lives. With me, your host, Singh. We are honored to have you join us on this journey to explore the transformative power of mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and authentic leadership. Tune in every week on transformationtalkradio.com at noon Pacific on Tuesdays, where we will continue to explore how mindful leadership can create a ripple effect of positive changes in your life and lives of those you influence. This show is dedicated to helping you lead with purpose, presence, and passion. Whether you're navigating the complexities of business, building strong connection with your team, or striving to make a meaningful impact in the world around you. To learn more about the show, access additional resources, or dive deeper, visit singpowerupcoach.com. Remember, leadership isn't just about what you do, it's about who you are. Let's continue to transform lives together, one mindful moment at a time. See you next week.